Okay. Hello. Good evening. Thank you so much, Dr. Zini. I'm so happy to be here. Um, Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. This is one summit that I look forward to every year, and it's not a small feat that Dr. Zini has been able to keep this happening, every single year, and it's better every time. Every year it just gets better, and I just want to honor her for that and say well done. So, without a lot of time, I'm going to share my screen immediately, and we can start. All right. So today I am coming in the capacity of my specialty as a lifestyle medicine physician to show us how food affects stress and how we can, um, really use that to our advantage. Give me a second. Sharing my screen. All right. Dr. Zine, please, is this clear on your end? You can't see my screen and you can't hear me very well. All right, so everything is working well. Is it fine? Can I go ahead? Dr. Zine, can you hear me? Yeah, so can I go ahead? Is everything working? Is the screen okay? My voice? Okay, thank you. Once again, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Zine. I'm happy to be sharing this with you today. And I want us to look at a very important topic, really. When we talk about stress, most people just think about, the headache they're having, thinking about sleep, thinking about so many other things, exercise, but rarely do people think about food and how food affects, you know, um, their stress levels and how their stress levels affect. So we'll be looking at the link between stress and nutrition and the science of how food affects stress, and we break it down into what you should eat to help you fight stress, what you should not eat in the sense that, or things that you should limit or reduce if you're having issues with stress. In fact, basically everybody, because stress is a normal way of, it's a normal part of life. So we all encounter stress all day, but the problem is how the body responds to stress, right? So you want to make your body resilient to the effects of stress. Then we'll look at the gut and brain connection. How is your gut, that's your digestive system, related to your brain, and practical eating tips for stress relief. All right. So let's talk about stress and nutrition. We are under chronic stress, from work, parenting, from whatever. This can lead to hormonal imbalances because hormones are, the hormones govern the body basically in my words. They are just behind the scene, basically running things. Hormones affect everything, right? Different hormones affect different parts of your body, and for so many people, hormones or hormonal imbalances are usually the missing link for many issues that they're having. But when it comes to stress, all right, when you're under stress, certain hormones are will be affected and they will be out of balance. You, hormones that govern your digestion, that govern um, even stress. I mean, there's a stress hormone called cortisol. You'll have a lot of issues, and all of them will boil down to chronic stress. And the problem with stress is that over time it leads to inflammation. Inflammation would affect both your mental and physical health, right? So you're going to start having breakdown of the mind, depression, anxiety, and all of those kind of issues. Physical health, high blood pressure, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and so many other issues. All these can be traced back to inflammation, can be traced back to imbalances and chronic stress. So this is a very, very important topic that we're discussing this evening. And nutrition plays a huge role in how your body responds to stress. So it's not the stress you're going through that matters, it's how your body is adapting to it or how your body is responding to it that matters. If your body responds the way it's supposed to, you adapt to the stress and you get over it and you'll be fine. But if your body does not respond to the stress adequately, you're going to end up with issues, right, with both your mind and your body. So it's a bi-directional relationship. Food affects stress levels, and stress levels affect food or food choices. So let's talk about different kinds of food that we eat, right? So let's talk about junk food. For many people, junk food is what they would crave when they are stressed out. So if you agree with me that whenever you're under enormous amount of stress, your brain will tell you eat chocolate, get some ice cream. In fact, it's become a norm in movies that when somebody is feeling bad or has a bad day at work, you know, the friends or the family will say get some ice cream, you know. So it's been accepted in the society that ice cream solves a lot of problems, chocolate solves a lot of problems. Unfortunately, these foods are high in sugar and fat, right? So they might provide temporary relief, but your body would process it in a very negative way, which I'll be showing later, and it will now worsen your stress long term. So it's like you are feeling better today. However, you're not giving your body the tools it needs to adapt to that stress long term. On the other hand, foods that are well balanced, that are rich in nutrients, will support the neurotransmitter production. So basically, sorry, that's just medical whatever. In basic English, it just means that there are certain chemicals that your body needs to make it feel good, to help it to adapt to changes, to stress, right? So when you eat good food will nourish your body to give your body what it needs, nutrients it needs to produce those chemicals that will make your body to adapt. Because you see, what you need in a stressful time or even to cope with the normal stress of life is not just temporary relief, although that feels good in the moment, but you want your body to be able to cope with whatever life throws at you without breaking down. You want your body to be able to, because the people that when they go through stress, they break down for 3, 4 days. They've got a cold. They are in their, they are curled up under the bed. Their body was not able to handle that stress, right? So their immune system breaks down because stress is linked to immune system, right? So the person is not able to stave off things that ordinarily their body were able to fight, but because they're under stress and their body is not coping, right? All of a sudden, anything that passes, they catch, or just the body just breaks down and just needs a rest, and they just need to lie down and take some days off. So you need to eat well so your body can produce the chemicals that it needs, right, to create the environment or the strength, the resilience to combat stress when it comes, and even the daily stress that your body undergoes. And of course, hormonal balance, which is very, very, very important, and we'll be discussing that shortly. So we'll talk about the gut brain axis. The gut. The gut is the digestive system. There are things living there. There are bacteria living there. They are good bacteria, and there can also be bad bacteria. But there are very, very good bacteria living in your gut. And that good bacteria controls the way you feel. It's so amazing because the gut is called the body's second brain. And we underestimate how, okay, let me give an example. You know how when you're stressed out and all of a sudden your tummy starts turning? Have you wondered what is the connection between how I'm feeling and in my mind and my belly? Why do you feel that sudden urge to use the toilet when you get bad news or something? That is the gut brain connection. And I'll be explaining that eventually. So it influences the mood and your stress responses. All right. So what are the foods that heal? Let's start with that. All right. What are the foods that should be part of your diet? We're not talking about just temporary relief. You want to build your body to be an adaptive system that no matter what comes, your body can handle it. Leafy greens, vegetables, right? These rich green vegetables, they are rich in magnesium. Magnesium helps to regulate cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone and also reduces blood pressure. Is so important. They also contain folate, which aids in dopamine production. Dopamine is a hormone. I talked about how hormones rule the body or how they govern the body. So you've seen cortisol, which is the hormone released when you're stressed out, right? So this would help you to regulate it and bring it under control. Then folate will help you to produce dopamine, which is another hormone that will make you to feel good. So in spite of what is going on, your body is releasing dopamine because that will help you to feel good. That would now counter the negative effect of the stress. So dopamine also controls pleasure, motivation, action. Stress, instead of you to go and call and be like, oh, there's this deadline coming, but I'm paralyzed, I can't do anything. My brain can't function. If you've been nourishing your body, dopamine will kick in, and instead of the stress to ground you, it motivates you towards action. That is such a powerful place to be because the more you hide from what you're supposed to do, the more stressed you are. And you agree with me that that happens, right? You keep hiding from that deadline. The closer it comes, the more scared you are, the more stressed you are. So when you have enough dopamine kicking in, it's pushing you towards action, and the stress level will drop. Example: our Nigerian ugu, that's pumpkin leaves, spinach, kale, lettuce, and so on. We have so many of them. Eforiro and efotete and all of that. Fatty fish, these are high in omega-3 fatty acids. They reduce inflammation. I mentioned inflammation earlier. This is so important. Inflammation is at the root of so many illnesses, and um, is very, very closely linked to stress also. Both, the stress that comes on you from any external issues and the daily stress that your body is exposed to. So when you eat fatty fish, it helps to it gives you omega-3 fatty acids, which will help to reduce inflammation and regulate your body's response to stress. Then this will reduce depression and anxiety. Example: mackerel, salmon, sardines, are the fatty fish that help us with omega-3. Whole carb, you want to eat carbohydrates as much as possible. As much as possible. Choose minimally processed carbohydrates that still have their fiber. I talked about the gut microbiome. I'm going to talk about it, as we go on. Fiber, those good bacteria that your body needs, they feed on fiber. So when you're giving them food that does not contain fiber, they start dying. And when they start dying, you start having serious problems. The When you have healthy bacteria in your gut, my goodness, it helps in to control stress. It helps your mind, how you feel. It helps to control your immune system. It helps so many things. Diseases and will not be far from you. So make sure that you eat as much as possible whole carbs. They stabilize blood sugar, preventing mood swings. So there's something called prebiotic and probiotics. Prebiotics are the food that the organisms feed on, right? While probiotics are organisms basically that healthy organisms that are in your system. So the fibers are prebiotic. So the whole carb, because of the fiber will stabilize your blood sugar. When your blood sugar is not stabilized, when you eat junk food, your blood sugar swings up and down, which will be giving mood swings. If you have children around and you give them sugar, for example, you find out that they're very, very hyperactive. After a while, they crash. Then they are now irritable, then they sleep off and all of that. It's called the sugar rush. We adults have the same thing, but it manifests as I take ice cream, I feel good, I'm happy, then you crash. It's your blood sugar swinging like a pendulum, and it's terrible. It leads to a whole lot of other things, belly fat and all of that. So you want to stabilize your blood sugar so that you stop having mood swings up and down. It starts with your food. Example of this whole carbs, beans, chickpea, rolled or steel cut oats instead of the instant oats that many of us eat. Go for rolled oats. You might not really find steel cut oats very much in our environment, but you can buy rolled oats, right? Sweet potatoes, yam, ofada rice, brown rice, quinoa, whole wheat, and so on, right? So the next group of foods that are very good for us, fermented foods. I talked about probiotics, all right? Fermented foods give us probiotics. They contain probiotics. They are high in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. So they enhance gut health. So it's a combination of fermented food, which are rich in probiotics, and fiber, which are prebiotics, and it's a wonderful combination, right? So this will help to control anxiety and stress. Example: kimchi, yogurt, pap, locust beans, oba. That's fermented oil bean seed and so on. Foods that are fermented are extremely good for us. Berries, they are packed with antioxidants that combat oxidative stress. They are low in sugar. Then teas, chamomile tea, which is very soothing and is known all over the world for helping people who have issues with sleep because it calms the mind. Green tea, matcha, black tea, all of this. In the UK, British people, every small thing, do you want some tea? Whenever they are dealing with any um issues, at the end of the day, stress, whatever, they take some tea. And I used to see it as a British thing, but recently I was under a lot of stress and I started taking tea. I was just, let me just try this thing. Hey. I told my husband a few days ago, I said, this thing works. So, because you just be having your head just be full like this. After a cup of tea, you're just feeling so calm. And the next thing, you just can't sleep off. I'm like, no wonder these people have been doing this thing for centuries. It works, right? So, but if you're having issues with the caffeine doesn't really affect me, but affects many other people. So you can go for the caffeinated tea. You can go for green tea, which has less caffeine, and then chamomile, peppermint tea, and there's so many other teas that are very good. So other foods that are very good for stress: garlic, eggs, nuts and seeds, dark chocolate, cocoa. So let me dark chocolate and cocoa. Dark chocolate is fantastic. It contains magnesium, which we talked about earlier, right? It's very good for stress. But please, this is not a license to go and to binge on chocolate. And also, when you're choosing chocolate, please choose 70% and above cocoa. Don't choose milk chocolate. Don't choose 30%. That one is just sugar that you're pumping into your system, right? So choose 70%, 80%, even 100%. You can buy unsweetened cocoa as well and take it in place of all those Ovaltine and all those things that people like to take, right? Avocados, wonderful, wonderful for stress. There are herbs like ashwagandha, ginseng, rhodiola that are also they are called adaptogens because they help your body to adapt to stress. So you can also get that into your regular diet. But you also want to be careful to not overdo it. Many of them do not have research backing them for long-term use. So maybe use them when you're going through a hard time to help you adapt to stress, and then you stop after some weeks. All right. So what are the foods that drain you? Sugary snacks, sugar, right? Most of these ultra carbohydrates, they lack fiber and essential nutrients. So you do not want to be eating a lot of them. You want to really, really limit their use because they affect how your body adapts to stress. I've already mentioned that it's not just about how you feel in the short term. You want to build a machine. You want to build your body to be able to adapt to whatever life throws at it, right? So you want to reduce sugary snacks and ultra processed carbohydrates in your meals. Um, they cause blood sugar spikes. I already talked about fiber. They cause spikes and crashes, which will make you to be irritable. So you're feeling good one minute, next minute you're irritable. They also raise the stress hormone, that's the cortisol. They contain trans fat, which will trigger inflammation. Trans fat has been banned, but unfortunately, it still features in a lot of the processed foods. Normally, all over the world, it's been banned. It should be 0% in meals, but unfortunately, um, all this junk food contains trans fat, right? So it triggers inflammation, and which puts the body under stress. Cookies, cakes, potato chips, soda, that's Coke and the rest are all sugary snacks and ultra processed carbohydrates, white bread, pasta, and so on. So you want to limit their use. And even when you want to eat white bread, for example, you want to add other things, to it like eggs, avocado, vegetables. You want to pack it so that it doesn't go in and hit your blood sugar and cause a spike. So you want to pad it up but limit the use. Same with pasta, right? You want to add vegetables, beef, chicken, all those kind of things to limit how it hits your blood sugar, but limit use. All right. So the next caffeine. Many people cope with their daily load of, let's say, many work with caffeine. They wake up in the morning, they didn't sleep well at night, they take caffeine and it keeps them going throughout the day. Unfortunately, caffeine overstimulates the body stress response. So you are going through stress, you're taking caffeine to cope with it, and you find out that you are now over stimulating the body. It also disrupts sleep, especially if it's taken after 3 p.m., for example. And caffeine can come in different forms, right? So if you're taking it for whatever reason, it might affect your sleep. Unfortunately, like a vicious cycle. When your sleep is affected, your body goes under even more stress because sleep is extremely important for stress control. Sleep is your body's stress control machine or mechanism. So when you take something to help you and it now disrupts your sleep, in fact, you're going to wake up the next day worse than you were the previous day, right? So it just keeps going like that. There's also something called caffeine crash. You take caffeine, it spikes you up, you're feeling good, then you crash later in the day. Tiredness, irritability, loss of focus. You have a memory fog. You start feeling foggy. For most people, when that hits them, they take even more caffeine and so on and so forth. So that creates a dependence on caffeine. Without it, you can't function. Coffee, soda drinks like Coke, energy drinks, black tea, all these contain caffeine. I talked about black tea and caffeine earlier. So, you want to limit the use of this in your diet. Alcohol. Many people, especially men and women, I mean, the other day I'm not give that example, but I saw my neighbor, a lady, an older lady, throwing away like 8 bottles of vodka. I was like, wow, mama had a good time. So, um, alcohol, many people take it to cope with what they're going through. Unfortunately, it disrupts sleep patterns and can make depression worse. So you take it to feel better and it makes you forget for some seconds, for some minutes, for some hours, but it can worsen depression, right? And even put you under more stress. Because even when you're now drunk, you can even go and do something that will now worsen your problem, right? So your actions are affected. Excessive drinking disrupts the body's natural ability to cope with stressful situations. I said earlier, we want to build a machine that can cope. So when you now start over drinking, it starts to disrupt how your body would normally adjust and adapt. And then this will also promote anxiety and chronic stress. So let's talk about the gut brain connection quickly. The gut and the brain communicate constantly via hormones, nerves, and immune signals. There's a hormone called serotonin, right? It's the body's mood booster. Um, is it really a hormone or a neurotransmitter? Anyway, we can pass for both. But it's produced primarily in the gut. You can imagine that something that is your body's mood booster, you would think it will produce more in the brain, right? No, it's your gut that produces those microbiomes, those organisms talked about earlier. They're the ones producing it. So when you're not eating what you should eat, you find out that your mood will always be down. Research has shown that people who eat a lot of junk food are prone to depression and anxiety. This is why. So, but when you're feeding your gut very well, they are happy. So they are producing your mood booster. They're producing serotonin that will make you be happy. Only 10% is made in the brain. So this shows you how important your digestive system is. That what you eat affects your mind. Gut health affects how your brain reacts to stress and emotions. Right? People who eat a lot of junk food are always depressed and sad and in their house and just doing stuff. So when you are feeding well, you find out that you are out there. You see people that are doing very well, many of them, you can see their body. They are, you can see the discipline, because discipline in diet usually reflects on, in your looks, funnily enough. And you find that these people are, they have steady mood, they control what they eat, and it's something that, if you're in the workplace, if you're in business, you need to start looking at what you're eating, because it can give you a competitive edge over, others, or other people in your field. When you are steady, when your health is steady, your stress, you can manage anything that comes, you can go long hours because you're not up and down, you are steady. It's very, very important. So when your gut is inflamed or imbalanced from poor diet, from stress, from illness, it can lead to mental health problems like anxiety and depression. So this happens through something called leaky gut, which allows, so leaky gut is basically when there's inflammation. Let me explain it. So let's say your gut is is a tissue, right? So it's supposed to digest food, and then it has small, 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 small holes that now let out nutrients into the blood gradually. Then the nutrients will now go and do what they're supposed to do, like releasing energy to your brain, to all the organs and all of that. But when you now have inflammation because you're not eating well, because you're stressed, or you're sick, there's some illnesses that cause leaky gut. Those tiny, tiny holes in the gut now expand and become larger. So food that should not pass now begins to pass, right? So things that are bigger, things that are not yet, they've not gotten to the point where they should be released into your blood, maybe not digested enough, they start going into your blood, then they now cause even more inflammation, because now the body is seeing things that should not be. These things are not flying around. So and even some of them are harmful, right? And there's now even more inflammation, both your body, your brain. So leaky gut will cause the immune system to release chemicals. Now, when those things now are released into your bloodstream, your body sees them as the enemy, sees them as foreign materials, things to attack. The body, your immune system will now release chemicals to fight those things coming out from your gut, because these are not supposed to be. Unfortunately, those chemicals will now travel to the brain and trigger mood issues, right? So these things that are causing inflammation can now link and are now linked to memory loss, anxiety, depression. It's a very, very fascinating topic, and it's one of my favorite topics in the world, the gut anyway. But I would, we'll move on. But please pay attention to your gut. It's extremely important. Probiotics, which are the good bacteria we talked about earlier, they can reduce anxiety and depression. This is proven by science. When you're feeding when your bacteria in your gut is happy, you'll be happy. They help to restore gut balance, they reduce this inflammation we're talking about, and they improve your brain function. In both animal and human studies, probiotics worked as well as some antidepressants. You can imagine that for people who have depression. So important. Like that's the palm, citalopram, in improving their mood and lowering stress hormones like cortisol. Fermented foods are rich in probiotics. We talked about this earlier. Your gut bacteria, look at this, can change within 24 hours based on what you eat. I mean, if you make the change today, by tomorrow, there's already a change. Is like it happens that quickly, right? So you can, and this change can happen positively or negatively. Oh. So if you want to go on a binge now and start drinking alcohol this evening, that is Friday, please, my dear, step back. Within 24 hours, your gut bacteria can start to change and start doing those bad things I talked about earlier based on what you eat. But you can also make a reverse and start eating something nice, and in 24 hours, there's a change, right? So, diets high in sugar, processed foods, and low in fiber promote unhealthy gut bacteria. I already talked about this. While fiber-rich whole foods feed the good bacteria. These are called prebiotics. So that combination of probiotics and prebiotics want to be, right. All right. Now I'm going to use an example, run through an example, a case study to show you how you can begin to transform your stress through diet. And this is a lovely lady we're going to use here. Let's call her Jane, 37 years old Jane. She's a marketing executive in Lagos. If you've lived in Lagos, well, you understand what I'm trying to say. She has early mornings. She has to leave very early to get to the island. She lives on the mainland. There's traffic, so she has to go. Late nights, she comes back home very tired late at night. So she doesn't really sleep well. I mean, she has to sleep very late and wake up very early. She's under chronic stress because of her job, targets, right? All these banks. God had mercy upon us. She has a very huge target and she has to commute. There's a lot of stress on this poor lady. She's not sleeping well. She's dependent on coffee. She's always carrying a flask, of coffee inside. Early in the morning, she's drinking it on her way to work. Throughout the day, she's, taking more coffee, even energy drink just to keep up because she has a long day ahead of her. All right. So, what's the intervention for Jane? Meal planning. Because one problem with being under stress is that it affects your diet. We talked about that earlier. Number one, your body will be craving sugar. And if you are under stress due to job demands and you will not really be eating well. Apart from the fact that your body is craving sugar, because when you're under stress and your body is telling you eat something fast, eat something to flood, you know, with sugar so that you can have a high. And people like that many times fill their belly with junk food and they don't even have time for a proper meal. So what will help Jane? Number one, meal planning. Plan your food. The truth is that you eat what is available. No matter how you want to do your resolutions from today to tomorrow, it's what is in your heart you're going to eat. It's what you have. If you are craving sugar and you turn and you see apple, you eat that apple. Why? Apple is sweet, but it's a better kind of sugar than Fanta. So if you plan your meals, you don't get to the point where you're even very, very hungry. Once you're hungry, you eat. There are people that they don't have anything to eat, so they will walk and walk and walk and walk until when they're not about to faint. Anything that they see is food. So plan your meals, it helps. Number two, colorful plate. The more colorful your plate is, the variety of nutrients that will feed your gut. So you have red apple, you have green vegetables, you have yellow. What's yellow? Yellow pepper. You have different things. Your plate is looking fine. You can see her with her pineapple, her date. You can see her with the apple and all of that. Colorful plate. Let your plate be looking great. That's variety of nutrients also. Hydration, more water, less caffeine. So Jane needs to step down on her coffee intake and energy drink and start drinking more water. Mindful eating, she needs to be mindful of what she's eating and how she's eating it, right? So no careless eating, nibbling here and there. Somebody will tell you, I've not eaten this morning, doctor. But if you calculate everything that entered their mouth, it's more than 2,000 calories. I've not eaten anything, okay. But you've eaten plantain chips, you've picked quickly from here, you've done this, because you're peckish, you're having cravings all over the place, and that can be linked to both stress, poor sleep, and blood sugar swinging up and down. So incorporating leafy greens, whole foods that we talked about, fatty fish and fermented foods into her diet is what Jane needs to do now, or what she's doing. Let's say doing sleep hygiene. So Jane now needs to start planning her sleep. There's no more careless coming back from work and then pressing her phone till whenever sleep. No, 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 no. She comes back, she has her bath, no screen, she turns it off, she keeps it. She's now more conscious of getting up to 7 hours of sleep so that she wakes up the next day refreshed. Exercise and meditation. She comes back, she sits in one place, whether in the night or the next morning, just for her brain to calm, to be calm and to face the next day. Right? So, what is the result of this intervention? The outcome? Reduce anxiety levels. She's facing the day now like a boss. There's no more running up and down before the day even starts. You're already, hey, oh my, no. She has packed her meal. She has meditated. Her brain is now intact. You know, she knows what to do. She knows where to go. She's thinking straight. She's sleeping better, you know. So in 2 weeks, her whole life has changed. No more dependence on coffee. Her craving has come under control. She's sleeping better, so no need to pick me up with coffee. She's healthier and she's stronger. Right now, that was actually the end of my presentation, but I promised you in the in the video that I put, the was it the invitation video, I want to show you how to stay alert all day without caffeine, coffee and energy drinks. So I'll just run through this in a minute. I have just 1 minute. Number one, when you wake up in the morning, get some sun exposure or bright light. If you're waking up too early for the sun, get bright light within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. Extremely important. You want to reset. I talked about hormones, right? You want to set your body's internal clock to know that it is morning. Wake up. This is important. If you do not get exposure to sun or bright light in the morning, it's going to affect your sleep the next night. It's so powerful, but we don't have to talk about that. All right. So do this. 5 to 15 minutes. Get light, sunlight, or um, bright light. It will boost your serotonin, right, which is extremely important for you, and regulate your internal clock. Drink water, either 1 glass or 2 glasses. That's 250 to 500 mils of water within 30 minutes of waking up. If you're someone that doesn't really like taste of water, add lemon, pinch of salt, whatever. Dehydration will make you to feel tired first thing in the morning. You want to start your day, you want to kickstart your metabolism and your brain. You want to, keep it moving. Eat a blood sugar friendly breakfast. You don't want your blood sugar swinging up and down. How do you do that? Enough protein, fiber, that's whole foods, and healthy fat like avocado, fish to stabilize your blood sugar. Stable blood sugar means stable energy and less cravings. So you are stable. Move your body early in the day. It can be something very simple. You can squat while brushing your teeth. I know you don't have time. You will say, I'm going to work. Yeah, you can be, squat, do jumping jacks. There are 5, 10 minutes. Just let your body start moving. Just let things start flowing. Right. So morning light and movement will help to regulate the circadian rhythm and increase alertness. Take breaks every 2 to 3 hours while you're at work. Move around, breathe in, breathe out. Right. More oxygen will go to your brain. It means your brain will be more fired up, will feel more refreshed. Breathing is underrated. You need to start breathing more deeply. It will help to boost clarity and reduce stress. Number six, power naps. During the day, if you're somebody that your energy level drop, you can just bow your head 2 to 3 p.m. and just take very, very short naps. Not too much, you now wake up and start feeling drowsy. No, just very. There's a research that NASA did with power naps where every of their staff, NASA, they take power naps 26 minutes, I think, every day. It helps them when they wake up. It's as if they just woke up the next morning. It's a research, actually. You can read about it online. They wake up feeling energized. So these are beyond nutrition, but I had to add that as a bonus for you so that you know that have caffeine, right? So nutrition is a powerful tool in managing stress. Prioritize whole nutrient dense foods. Be mindful of foods that may make stress worse. Include other lifestyle changes like restorative sleep. Make sure you're sleeping well. Oh. It's extremely important for you. Small, consistent changes can lead to significant improvement. Start today, start small, keep going. Thank you very much. Sorry, I didn't get that. Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. On Instagram, my my handle is as Dr. Mavi. Ask Dr. Mavi. So you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, my name, Marvellous Njoku-Adeleke. And then you can join my community as Dr. Mavi community. It's free anyway. So where I teach, it's easier for me to teach, in that community than just only on social media. So that's how you can reach me. Thank you very much. Njoku-Adeleke. Yeah, that's my name on Facebook. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, double L. Yeah, double L. Thank you so much.